everybody. David Kennedy, Canopy Realtor Association President, MLS President, and I'm here once again with a ordinary realtor who did some extraordinary things. Hi.
Hello, David. I'm Katherine Browning. I was president in 1992. I have been a realtor since '78, which is over 40 years. So I think we call me Realtor Emeritus, I believe.
You're fine wine. You're like fine
there
wine.
You go.
So what was it like in 1978 when you got into real estate? What drew you into real estate?
I had been very involved in the rehab of 4th Ward downtown.
Okay.
And was representing a nonprofit, and we were moving houses into 4th Ward and rehabbing them and selling them on a handshake, not what we've got going on today. But 4th Ward, as you can see, is just booming, as is downtown.
So, handshake deals.
Handshake deals.
Any of them fall through?
I don't know that they were, but I mean, you sell a house for $35,000, $40,000.
Uh-huh.
You know, there were a good many winos down there, to put it mildly. And the houses were not in very good condition. But that's what got me. I thought, well, you know, I'm doing this, selling houses. I might as well get licensed to sell houses.
So you're developing houses in 4th Ward. What was Charlotte in general like back then in 1978?
Well, downtown was dead. I don't know what to tell you, David. I've been in Charlotte forever.
Uh-huh.
It's a great town.
Well, can you remember when you get your license and you already have some experience with building houses and selling them on a handshake in 4th Ward, then you get your license. What draws you into your service here at the association? What kind of motivates you to come and be a part of the leadership and to serve at the association level?
I don't know. That's just me. I like to volunteer. I like to work with people. I love to see things happening here. When I was president, we were located on Moorhead Street.
How was that?
During that presidency, we bought this building on Greenwood Cliff. So that might have been my greatest accomplishment as president.
So how did that come about? Who was the buyer, the seller? Was it a swap, an exchange? Do you remember the details?
Golly. I know Lewis Rose, Southern Real Estate were the brokers.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not quite sure. We were outgrowing that building, and it was time to do something different. But it was a great little building. I mean, golly, the difference in this magnificent place and that building across the street.
So you helped with the swap between the association headquarters on Moorhead to Greenwood Cliff, and now, is this the first time you've been in the headquarters here at 1120 Pearl Parkway?
Only on the first floor.
Only on the first floor.
I guess when you opened.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to get you a tour when this is over.
I want to. I certainly want to. This is perfectly beautiful.
So down on the first floor, we have a sculptor.
Yes.
Okay, and
I want to see that.
We got to get you down there, because that is that's one of the things that helped build a little bit more into our endowment, which I read that was something that you were a part of at the very beginning, our Housing Foundation endowment. Tell us a little bit about your endowment there.
Well, I was involved with the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was on that board, committee, whatever. And I remember one of the things I said was, guys, we need a goal of $1 million. And are we there now?
Yes.
I thought so.
Yeah.
When did we get there?
In 2019.
That is wonderful. And I also got the Foundation of the Carolinas involved. And I think that's been good, has it not? Are they still managing the funds?
I cannot do justice how important your leadership was to set us up to where we are today.
I don't know. That is so good.
We are Foundation for the Carolinas. They do help
Yeah.
manage it. We have over a $1 million endowment, and we have
So good.
we've awarded grants in excess of $600,000 since we formalized the foundation in 2009. It's just been gangbusters.
So how much are we giving away approximately each year?
So
Is there a max or percentage or?
it's a great question. If we do a grant, for example, we usually don't give more than $3,000. So if David can identify some organizations that are addressing critical housing needs in the community, he'll nominate them,
Okay.
and we give them up to like $3,000 a year. And they got to meet certain criteria, whereas nothing can go to overhead. It's got to meet some kind of housing needs. You got to be a nonprofit, meet the tax requirements and stuff like that.
But we do have administrative expenses, do we not?
We do. So we've got an executive director, Terry Marshall, and
Yeah.
she's on staff and she covers all that. She's the Michelangelo. She just does it. So
I hope we don't spend too much on administrative
we do.
of the whole, because I've been involved in organizations that
We don't.
those expenses
we
are
don't.
sort of out of whack.
We've got Terry's, I think, the only full-time employee we got
Okay.
in the foundation right now. And so
Yeah.
it's a lot. We do have part-time employees that kind of shared services between us
Yeah.
and the MLS, and
Uh-huh.
a lot of volunteers. Terry's just got a tremendous amount of partnerships.
That's so
That
good.
everything she touches is almost exponential. So
That's so good.
tell me about, if you can remember back, Mingle School of Real Estate. So we've talked about the first floor of our association. You walk in, that's first and second floor is where the old Mingle School, which is now the Canopy Real Estate Institute. Were you involved in when the Mingles sold to the association? Were you around back then?
Yeah.
How was that?
David, I don't remember much of that really. I got my license through Van Mingle.
So I remember that I think they were getting close to retirement, and he was looking to get
Yeah.
out, and it just seemed natural that he would sell to us.
Right.
And we still keep trucking to this day.
That's so good. It's a great school, isn't it?
It is. I mean, that's where I did it too. But basically, you did some big things when you were around. We were there with the swap between our old building and our new one. You laid the foundation for our endowment. You were also there for when we bought Mingle.
But I wasn't involved in that, David.
What was your biggest thing? What's the thing that you're most proud of when you look back on your career?
Probably the beginnings of Fourth Ward, and then I represented developers in First Ward and Third Ward, and represented right many sales in those areas. And to watch downtown boom has probably been the most exciting thing that I have seen as a realtor and as a person, just as a human being, just as a Charlottean, to see it all happen. And there were a lot of doubting Thomases.
Oh, they were?
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel when you see a second generation realtor become a second generation president of the Realtor Association, and your son, I believe he was in 03 or 04. What did you feel? What were the emotions going through your head when he was the president?
I can't even explain it. Proud mama.
Good.
And then Realtor of the Year.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful. And he's loved the real estate business and still does.
So you not only have the contribution that you made for yourself, you also get the extra feather in your cap for sitting in your seat.
Yeah. Thank you, David. I'll take it.
Yeah. So I've served on board committees with him and on boards, and he is just dynamite. We love him to death.
Good.
Do you look back and have like an obstacle, a big challenge that you remember when you were in leadership that you were like, hey, this is tough, and how you worked through it?
You know, one of the biggest challenges was buying this building on Greenwood Cliff.
Huh.
It really was. There were people said, you know, there were realtors in leadership. Realtors who had been in leadership were saying, why in this world are we talking about moving? So that may have been one of the biggest things I had to overcome.
So,
but it worked. And look.
Looking back on your career, what did it mean to be a realtor when you first got your license, and then kind of what did it mean as you were full-fledged in leadership and maybe getting out of the business? How's it evolved, or has it evolved?
Let's talk about paperwork. You know, I was thinking about this. I don't know whether I was first in real estate, whether it was a one-page contract. That might have been a little bit before my day, but it certainly was not what it is today. And that's great. I mean, we're covering ourselves as we should. We're taking care of our buyers and sellers as we should. So, you know, it's a whole different ball of wax than when I started in it.
I just love the trajectory of your career. We start with handshakes, then we go to a one-page contract. Now we have a more robust paperwork, and we even, under your leadership, we started we start getting a grievance committee and professional standards around your time in leadership. And talk to us about the formulation of some of those committees and standards.
I don't know. I can't. I mean, I don't remember that. I don't know that it was a significant part of my leadership role. When did they come into play?
It came right around like the early 90s. So.
Early 90s.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what I was doing then.
You know what I was doing? I was cutting class in college. I shouldn't have been though. But
I did a few of those. Go ahead.
So when you look back on your career, what are some of the things that you feel proud of that you did when you look back as a realtor?
Well, I mean, I'm being redundant, but I think it's Fourth Ward. It's moving the building. I mean, purchasing the building. I started out with just a two-man operation, moved into with a developer, and then wound up in a larger firm, and I'm still have my finger in it at my age, believe it or not. I'm handling the administrative part of it.
So when is do you remember the last time you've been to Fourth Ward? You know?
That I've been to Fourth Ward?
When's the last time you've been to Fourth Ward?
You know, it's been a while since I've been downtown.
All right.
6 months.
6 months?
It's terrible.
What is Fourth Ward like today compared to what it was back when you were doing handshake deals?
It's just beautiful. And First Ward, you know where Trinity School is? Mm-hmm. I was involved in Trinity School.
Okay.
And so all of those wards had an effect on me. And maybe I had an effect on them, on that growth.
Well,
They were good times.
It was good times. So we'll tell David when we see him that we were understood that he was your most prized accomplishment in real estate.
There you go.
There you go.
That'll give me some points.
There you go. So what advice would you give realtors today? Somebody like me, what advice would you give me or contemporaries today of what we need to do, what we need to be mindful of, or what does it mean to be a realtor?
Well, I think one of the things you ought to really be mindful of and do is keeping in touch with former buyers and or sellers. I did not do a good job with that, but I think that is so very important that you become personally involved with them. I think it means a lot to them, that it's more than just a business deal, that they don't think we're at the closing table just to pick up our check. You know, I just think the personal part of it is important.
Well, a statistic that I saw in Colorado on a recent trip said 90% of clients would use their realtor again, but only 10% do because there's no follow-up. So I think you hit
There
the
you
nail
go.
on the head.
There you go. I was bad. Admittedly, I was bad about it. But it is so very important. And to become involved in their lives, you know?
Any last words for us before we go?
Take care of this beautiful building. Keep on the same. Continue doing what you're doing and expand, and don't add any more paperwork.